Welcome everybody to Sygnum's House View in October 2023. Hope you're all well. Joining me again today is Sygnum's Head of Investment Research, Katalin Tischhauser. Hi Katalin, how are you?
I'm doing good, waiting for the bull market.
So I'm Dom Castley, Sygnum's CMO. Welcome everyone who's joining us today for this live stream. So the theme of today's live stream is, for the house view, is the crypto markets still waiting for its catalyst. We see neutral to negative sentiment, but the markets are up and the fundamentals are all positive. So Katalin's here to make us sense of the seeming contradiction. Before we get started, just a reminder, as always, nothing today constitutes any investment advice from Sygnum. So let's get going. So Katalin, we've all been here before. A long road trip with the kids in the back, and they keep saying, are we there yet? We're traveling forward, we're making progress, there's momentum, but the destination always seems to be just around the bend. We're not there yet. The market's up, sentiment is still bearish, and the good news is not really impacting prices. So to kick us off, Katalin, on this biggest of questions, what's your explanation for this?
Yeah, it's a frustrating market. As you say, the news flow has been in the last few months overwhelmingly positive. Regulatory news flow, which was negative in the first half of the year, turned. We have seen a string of legal wins for crypto. Of course, the most significant positive news, the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF filing. And yet the market's not responding. And we see that the outlook is generally overwhelmingly positive. We see various signs of this. For example, the accumulation by long-term holders. For Bitcoin, this is at an all-time high. So clearly long-term investors are quietly accumulating basically on the positive news. We also see that traditional institutions' engagement with crypto keeps rising. We see news flow on this all the time, including recently. And we also have leading voices regularly saying something positive about the crypto market. And somehow what is lacking is really a decisive catalyst that will ignite a bull market and the next run. We were hoping that, for example, what could be a catalyst, for example, the Ethereum ETFs. This did not prove to be a catalyst. I think the market is waiting for something bigger than that. And this could be, for example, the actual approval of the Bitcoin spot ETFs. It could be a viral breakout use case. And just as an aside, I would mention, I don't see a lot of reason to think that this has anything to do with Jerome Powell or what the Federal Reserve is doing. Bitcoin specifically, and some segments of the crypto market, of course, behave differently and are driven by other factors, but the largest half of the market, Bitcoin specifically, has been historically pretty much entirely uncorrelated with global macro and traditional asset classes. It has been so this year, and the only exception to this was a relatively short period from the end of 2021 to the end of 2022, which had very specific reasons. So I don't think that this holding pattern is global macro or Federal Reserve related, but the market is holding out for a major decisive catalyst.
Yeah. Just rewinding back there about the Ethereum ETF, didn't have a great amount of excitement volumes when it launched last week. But looking back, compared to the Bitcoin futures ETF back in 2021, traded $1 billion, I think, on the first day. So what do you think the specifics between the differences between those might be?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons, I think. First of all, now that spot ETFs are on the table, I think the futures ETF looks a lot less interesting, a lot less exciting. The tracking error on the Bitcoin futures ETFs has been quite significant. That's definitely a deterrent. It's also a little bit messy. because some of the returns, because of how it's structured, have to be delivered as dividends, and some of it is as movement in the NAV. That's definitely less convenient for investors. So the fact that now that we're looking at the spot and it's a futures ETF, one reason. The other, it's also important who the ETF issuer is and what client base they bring to the ETF. I think more important than the existence of the ETF itself or the fact of the ETF. When a large institution, in fact, the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, its client base to an ETF, I think that's a very significant development. Smaller issuers, I think there's far less there in this regard. And of course, Ethereum has some headwinds now. So just generally buying Ethereum is not so much, the topic of the day. Ethereum again turned inflationary for the first time since the merge. The success of the layer 2s on Ethereum have been kind of eating Ethereum's lunch, taking their transaction growth came to some extent at the expense of Ethereum. Ethereum transaction fees earned have been declining. So I think just people generally weren't buying Ethereum right now to some extent. That was a part of it.
Yeah. Just double clicking on the point about the issuer and the underlying asset. I mean, the stocks of companies that are offering or will offer, Bitcoin spot ETFs have arguably pumped more than the underlying itself. That suggests that the brand name, the marketing and distribution power, is critically important. And you would think that in some cases the underlying would be the hero here. Am I right? I mean, is this a good thing?
Yeah, no, this is crazy. So the listed stocks of Coinbase and Grayscale, which benefited from the ETF announcement, Coinbase as a vendor to a lot of the ETF applications, and Grayscale, of course, converting their Bitcoin trust or hoping to convert their Bitcoin trust into an ETF. Their listed stocks, I think, increased about twice as much as Bitcoin immediately on the news, carried on rising as Bitcoin started flatlining. And even after all of them corrected, they're still 40-50% above the price they were before the announcement. And Bitcoin is basically almost flat to the price it was before the BlackRock ETF announcement. Like it's up a tiny bit, but almost flat. And this is kind of crazy because, of course, the biggest beneficiary of a large number of investors buying Bitcoin ETFs is the price of Bitcoin. It has to be the case. And also in the case of, for example, Coinbase, they, of course, they're earning fees from providing services to these ETFs. But Coinbase has a lot of revenues, and it wouldn't be that the fees they get from that wouldn't be an overwhelming revenue item. I think it's maybe they benefit probably more just simply from the fact that this could ignite a bull market, and the increased trading volume obviously would benefit Coinbase. I think it could be partly because the stocks are easily tradable for everyone, and Bitcoin as it is currently is not, which maybe is just another argument why an easily tradable Bitcoin spot product might find quite significant demand. But this leaves Bitcoin relatively really undervalued, clearly. And also if you look at the probability, it's pricing in almost no probability of an approval, when actually it is overwhelming consensus that the approval is extremely, extremely likely.
Okay. So speaking about catalysts, Katalin, I couldn't resist that one. Many have spoken for some time now about how this type of ETF, its ease, simplicity of access, could trigger a market revival to be that catalyst. But much less has been really talked about a killer app that could also act as a catalyst. This is certainly something in the making, but quite hard to specifically predict. I mean, firstly, could you look back maybe at the last cycle and when retrospectively looking at it, how did this work last time for Killer App, and how and why did it go viral?
Yeah, so if I could, just before mention, because as you highlighted, the Bitcoin ETF approval could be a catalyst, and I think even it doesn't even, not just the approval, but I think if the market starts trading a narrative that the approval is extremely likely, that could be sufficient. So, but now moving on to a viral use case. Yes, we saw this was clearly a big contributor to the previous bull market when decentralized finance became a widely used legitimate use case that contributed to igniting the previous bull run. Similarly, with when play to earn gaming went viral, I think that came as quite a surprise. I don't know if anyone predicted that, or for example, when NFTs became extremely popular, and then various applications that were creating them, trading them, using them in some way benefited very significantly. So I think the market is looking for something like this, but also we have to say that even though decentralized finance was created as a vibrant, legitimate sector, it kind of hit a wall because it's only serving the crypto market basically currently. So there's a lot of lending, a lot of trading, a lot of asset creation, a lot of decentralized finance, insuring tokens and so on, a lot of decentralized finance activity going on, but it's all crypto related. So the next step of growth has to come from competing with traditional finance. And also, so basically right now, until people see a lot of evidence, and it is happening and there is evidence, but until there is significant evidence of real world assets being traded, tokenized, crypto sort of eating some of the lunch of traditional financial institutions in what they do, not in trading crypto. This use case is now not the engine. And with play to earn gaming, of course, that turned out to be a bit of a Ponzi. So that's now largely avoided. And for gaming, now the market is looking to something else to drive it, either very high quality games that people really, really want to play because of the gaming experience, or something very innovative where users create the game themselves, or some economic model that really is beneficial to users. So that use case kind of disappointed a little bit. And now the market is looking to, where are the use cases? Where's the mega trend?
So, I mean, you talked before about some of these use cases going viral. What does that look like when they go viral? I mean, we see it on viral videos, but in applications, what does that look like?
Yeah, no, so obviously we see tremendous user growth. So this is something, of course, to track. Also, we also see that the token prices react. So an easy way to see what happened then is to look at the prices of these tokens like Axie Infinity, or the various DeFi tokens back in the right. So you can see it there, but where it goes viral, it's the users, like really what we're looking for, because the token price without the users, that's pure speculation. So really what we're looking for is that there is viral user growth. A lot of people are using that particular service or application.
Yeah. On top of that, you probably also see different applications competing for the same user base.
Right. And then it becomes, right, it's, once something really starts going, then of course copycats jump in, projects make it a little bit different, improve on it, then you see a whole ecosystem develop around it, venture starts funding it, right? So suddenly you see that in that quarter, the VC funding pivots to a particular use case that suddenly makes up a huge portion of, the new seed funding from venture. Yeah, we see all of that. Yeah.
So looking into your crystal ball, everyone is interested in where is this going to come. Now, many of these for the next cycle are not apparent yet. What are some areas that you're interested in that show some potential?
Yeah, so, there are certain things where we have seen real traction. Of course, there can be a surprise, like the play to earn was a total surprise, and that can never be predicted even with a crystal ball. But things that, that recently really started working out, there's a niche decentralized social media project called FriendTech that actually experienced very dramatic user growth, to the point that they create social tokens of influencers. So you can trade the value of an influencer through this product they call a social token. The Friendtech social tokens volume now exceeds the entire NFT market traded volume. So that's quite a significant breakout, and it just came in August out of left field. They also, their revenue, the platform's revenue, and admittedly the fees they charge is quite high, but it's 6 times the revenue of the largest NFT trading platform, OpenSea. So this has been a really phenomenal success, but it's quite a narrow niche use case. And of course, as you mentioned, of course, we already see competitors jumping in, doing it a little bit differently, trying to compete, undercut the price. So that's already happening. Is this gonna, how far is this gonna go in terms of what it is? How far can it go? Or a wider decentralized social media trend that we have to wait and see. Another subset of the market that's really been very interesting this year is in the Web3 infrastructure projects, and specifically graphics computing power rendering, because there is so much demand for that now, and the demand is going to grow exponentially for sure, with AI, virtual reality, augmented reality taking off. So basically rendering graphics, images and so on. The need for this computing power is really growing very fast. So projects that provided blockchain-based decentralized projects that contribute to the computing power and provide it efficiently and in a complementary manner, that they could be driven by real world strong demand quite strongly. And there's a couple of projects that are active in that field. Their tokens have done actually rather well already this year, but that's definitely interesting because the demand for their service is very much there. We do see that their user numbers are growing very nicely, occasionally quite exponentially. I already mentioned that, of course, tokenization, real world assets, RWA in crypto is a big topic, and we hear about it all the time. So that really becoming a strongly growing segment of decentralized finance, then DeFi could be the engine again.
Fantastic. Several to watch out for. I think thank you for sharing your views. Our road trip for today is almost over, and I think we're just a tiny bit better equipped to answer that question. Are we there yet? But look, thank you very much, Katalin. Entertaining and very interesting as usual. So that brings our live stream for House View October to an end now. So thank you everyone for joining. Please follow us on LinkedIn and also on X, formerly known as Twitter. At our website and on social media, you can also get a copy of this month's House View as well. So in any case, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Katalin, and I'll see you for next month's edition.
Thank you very much.